Now, if you were involved with the Altar Society and you were here for Father Dismas, what can you tell us about the Christmas decorations?
Oh, the Christmas tree? Oh, Lord of mercy.
Oh, everything had to be bigger and better than it had ever been done before. The Christmas tree.
And they had to take pews out. Somebody broke their hand or arm or foot or something. Yeah, it was ridiculous. I'm sorry. It was awesome, and the whole city talked about this like, oh, man.
We've heard a few Father Dismas Christmas tree stories. So.
Oh, Lord. I mean, it was the biggest tree in the world. Bigger than I had ever seen. It was his thing.
I still remember, I wasn't here the night they put it in. But I was here for 9 o'clock Mass the next morning, and he walked out, and he was white. He was just white. His fear was that those guidelines wouldn't hold. And if they didn't, and somebody was under the tree, it'd kill them.
Right.
And it would have. I think that tree looked a whole lot bigger up close than it did growing out there on Poplar and 25th, about where it came from. I remember that very well. And the year that we celebrated the 150th, that was the year he wanted to have the float in the homecoming parade.
Okay.
And we worked on that float, and I've got pictures of it. It's pretty. It really, really was nice. And it was a real community project. I just anybody who didn't work on it really missed some fun.
Another favorite memory of mine or memorable experience was what we refer to as the tree at Christmas. And that was...
the last year we had a tree here.
The last year that we had a live tree in the church. Father Dismas Wienemann was our pastor. And on the corner of 25th and Poplar, there was a home where there is now a bank located. And this bank had several huge pine trees. And they were going to be torn down and the home razed in order to put up the bank. And the tree was promised to Father Dismas. Dismas loved Christmas and live trees, and
Every year it had to be taller than last year.
Bold statements. And so we arranged to get one of those trees brought to the church, and it was 25 feet tall. By the time it was erected, it literally touched the inside of the arch on the St. Joseph side of the church. However, in order to do that, it took us nearly 8 hours to get it in the church. Once we got it off of the flatbed truck and through the front doors, the ropes which had restrained the limbs had come off. It had opened up, and bringing that in, we blew out about the first 6 pews in the back of church, as well as several in front, which then caused a lot of repair and everything else. And it took us over 6 hours to get that tree erected.
What is your earliest memory of the church, of St. Joe's?
It would probably be but in the late 60s when I returned from college, because as a child I just don't have any recollection of it. And it usually goes back to midnight masses.
Okay.
The midnight masses have always been quite a production.
Okay. How so? How were they kind of big productions?
There was usually a great deal of decoration, a lot of lights, and then various decorations, the bulbs and the tinsel and Christmas trees, especially the Christmas trees and the nativity scene.
Okay.
The nativity scene, as far as I know, is still the same one. It's the one that we've had for years and rather large. And but in the past, there were always live Christmas trees. Now those have given way to the to the artificial kind, which is a little easier to deal with.
Right.
But especially under Father Dismas, he was adamant that we would have live Christmas trees, which led to a very memorable occasion when Father Dismas had this Christmas tree delivered here. I think was almost as tall as the church itself. I'm not sure. It was just huge. I don't know if you heard the story before.
Well, we've heard Christmas tree stories about Father Dismas.
This one, there were a number of us here to bring this thing into the church, and so the very two center doors in front of the church were open, and the butt end of the Christmas tree was picked up, and almost like a battering ram, we had to run because the limbs were so wide. And the first attempt, one of the guys was captured between the limbs and the door jamb. He was literally stuck in there. And again, Father Dismas was adamant that this tree wouldn't come into the church. And so we literally jammed it and jammed it and jammed it until we got it in. And at that time, there were rows of pews closer to the back doors, closer to the vestibule. Those pews have since been removed, and I think we started that process that night because when we finally got the tree to clear the door jamb, the branches spread out, and the forward momentum was such that the back 2-3 rows were torn from their anchors in the floor, and the pews were pushed forward. We then had to pick the tree up,
right,
and carry it over the tops of the pews till we could get it to the front of the church. I don't know how much woodwork had to be refinished after that tree was brought in, but that was the biggest one, at least that I can remember.
Right. I think we've heard that story.
I would be
not like this.
There were a number of people here that night. It was just huge. It took. I'm guessing there was something in the neighborhood of 24 men to pick this tree up. It was a huge tree. I don't know how we got it in here. And needless to say, I didn't come back to take it out.